They'll start their time off with a family meeting before the event with some notes they receive. And this will be so they can look at the menus and pick 2 of them that they would like for their lunch and dinner and get the supplies they need. That way, when we get to the part about the cooking, they'll be able to have everything they need to participate and get those marked off. We'll be going through some things for outdoor adventure, castaway, and then with the family, they do start their family meeting, which they can get one of those marked off as well. So I have some people that are already set up to do some of the videos. I have a few left open. If you are enthusiastic and exciting and would like to join in on that, please let me know. We have some calendar events that have been set up. The council programs team met, got together to go over the calendar for the year. I will be posting this after the meeting on our district website. Some notes to start off. We have a Merit Badge University coming up, council encampment in the fall instead of a camporee, leader training development. This will be set up for leaders that do events, some of the council events or district events, training situations where we'll be teaching those who train leaders how they can increase their skill level and how they get the program across, different ideas of how to teach, how to reach people, since we all learn in different ways. Another is the Cub Scout Fishing Rodeo. For a highlight on that, we're not going to be doing the Scoutorama, so I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. And since we're not doing the Scoutorama, which the participation has gone down a bit on that, we decided to move the fishing rodeo to April. Everybody that goes to the rodeo loves it. They tell us how fun it is, but they tell us how hot it is. So we're going to take advantage of that and move it to a cooler time frame, so that way we can enjoy it a little bit more there, not quite as hot. We also picked to do it at the end of April because traditionally Jackson Guard stocks the pond a couple weekends before that when they have their own rodeo. So hopefully we'll be able to catch a few more fish while they're out there too. We will be looking for Boy Scouts, boys and girls, both from Scouts BSA, to come out and help with the event. So if you have any youth that are interested in fishing, it'd be great if they could mark that on their calendars. The Merit Badge University is the first one coming up. That'll be on August 8th at the college. We are planning on continuing with that right now. We have to regroup later, we will, but right now we're hoping everything will be back up track by then, that we can continue with it. I am going to be setting up the merit badges for it in the classes. We'd like to set up some classes that are different from those that they're available to do now online, virtually, so that we can have some different things to offer them. If you're able to teach a merit badge and you have in the past, we're just getting started now on the training or the planning for it. So please send me an email. If I haven't already contacted you, I'm just going to start doing that this week. But send an email and get ahead of the game and tell me what merit badges you might be interested in teaching. Or if you've got something that you'd like to suggest, we can do that as well. We talked about it at the youth roundtable, that they can go over it and look and see what they're interested in and pass on that information also. A highlight from the council side is the encampment. We'll be doing that September 18th to 20th at Spanish Trails. The theme is going to be Highland Games. It's something that Pensacola Bay had set up for a spring camporee they were doing. So we're going to turn it into the council encampment so that we can do a little bit of a bigger event with everyone and using a plan that will be very fun for everyone to take part in. During the event, Pensacola Bay is going to be covering the events themselves and the other 2 districts assisting. Choctaw is going to use their resources to put on training during the event. We'll be setting up an introduction to outdoor leader skills. Since we weren't able to have it in the spring, we want to make sure we make that available since we know there's leaders who need it. Eagle projects, we'll be going through that as well. And merit badge counselor training. There's quite a few right now that are listed as not having training. Some need to have the training updated. Some have not taken it yet. So we're hoping that we can catch everybody at that one and try to get everybody up to speed as well. If they haven't done the online, then we'll have one that they can take in person. And that's it.
Hello again, everybody. All righty. Wayne, would you like speak with us for a few minutes about camp cards and things going on the national side?
On the national side, we have, Spencer has put out that they have lost, I think, about 900 staff members have been furloughed. So the national office is shut down currently. There are only people working remotely for the support as far as computer issues and those kind of issues that are going on. I know Spencer will give an update on the outlook for the national side as far as those employees tomorrow when he does his Facebook Live. In terms of camp cards, anyone that needs to turn in camp cards or have camp cards that they want to, that are unsold, they want to turn in, I do have PPE, masks, gloves, and if you want to turn that in, just let me know. I can meet you wherever you're at, whether it be at your home or wherever you're comfortable at, because of the fact that I do have the PPE. That is not a factor. So if you have that, please email me or text me directly, and we'll make arrangements to get that taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate that. All righty. Next up, Bonnie already mentioned that IOLS training will be held at the encampment. The only other note I have here regarding training is everybody please take time to check your youth protection training. The new program rolled out just about 2 years ago. So if you did it right on schedule, you may very well be due for youth protection renewal. So just double check that. And if you are, now's a great time if you're not otherwise busy and looking for things to do. Sue, do you have anything for us on your side?
Sue, you're muted.
Sue, anything up with merit badge counselors? Anything you need to?
Yeah, I sure do. Chuck's on here tonight with us, and he has recently updating his list with the NRA instructors. There's a lot of NRA instructors who have got expired certificates. I guess is it every 2 years, Chuck?
Every 2 years.
Is this something they do online?
They do it online. They have to remember to do it because there's no notice sent out to them that they have to renew. It's one of those things you gotta stick in the back of your brain and remember 2 years from the date you did it last.
Right. There are many that are needing it. And you can either send me the certificate and I'll forward it to Chuck, which is what we did with, I think that worked well with that one. And then I can have a file of it too. Also too, safety afloat, safe swim defense, all those need to be kept up too. And I'm working still on the list. I will send Bonnie you the list so you can have some merit badge counselors. I'm going to be sending it out. It's going to have things that are wrong, but I keep on fixing it every day and you'll get a new one. And probably by June, let's hope, I'll have it all up to date, everybody in there. And as far as I know, that's all I had.
Wonderful, Sue. Thank you very much for that. Ian, anything to report from the OA side?
Yeah, the calendar's changed a little bit in terms of obviously getting together. Conclave has been postponed to Labor Day, and that's in Mississippi. And as far as I see it on the Saga calendar, Spring Fellowship is still listed as active, but I don't know if that's going to remain that way or not. That's May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, so that's, I guess, going to be determined. And then everything else, there's a work day on the 6th of June. Again, probably the same line of thinking there. Still showing that it's going to be that day, but we'll have to play it by ear. Then I got an email back from Bill Strickland, Choctaw advisor, reminding us that the lodge banquet is this year going to be hosted by Choctaw. So we need to start getting on the ball, getting that planned, place to have it, team to take lead, gift to hand out. So all arrowmen who are listening and leaders, we need to be thinking about that. And also he said that Chaplain Alzar at Bob Hope Village is ready for us to help out around the grounds as soon as we're able to meet again. So that's kind of updates I have from him. I think that's about it, unless any other arrowmen have anything else.
All righty, thank you. Let's see, Tim, I've got you up for our first training segment this evening on retention. You realize if we're not careful, we're going to get pretty good at this.
Yeah, really. Well, I have my technical assistant here helping me out. So just take a few minutes and to bug you, all pun intended here, about retention. So if you sat through the last hour, some of it is the same, but a good bit of it is different versus Cub Scouts versus the troop level. So, you know, when families join us, it's because they believe in what we're offering. When they leave us, it's because they no longer value what we're delivering. So the difference is we made them an offer, got them to sign up, but did we deliver? Did we deliver that promise? So retention, though, begins and ends in our units. The units where the program happens, where the youth are most effective. So research and experience has helped us identify some key factors in Scout retention. Why are we doing this now? Well, to start with, we have time to make some plans. This time of the year, we're at our low point when it comes to membership. We've got approximately 84% of our units are rechartered. We know the numbers that we're going to have when we're complete, and their troops will be at 74% of where we finished the 19 year. That's actually pretty good. And my hat's off to all of you, because it is a team effort. We have 3 troops, though, that are above 84%, which is exceptional. But we do have some work to do. 2 of our units are less than 50%. So every year we experience this decrease because folks register for a year at a time or for the remainder of the year at recruitment. These losses reflect scouts that have left us throughout that year. Granted, some age out and move away. Think about it, because every one of us spends a great deal of effort and passion to bring new families to scouting and the values of our program. We do a good recruiting job. Families see a value to scouting. Something happens, though, from the time we sign them up until they leave that changes that value proposition for them. Don't you think it would take us less work to deliver what we promised than keep trying to find new folks to join? More scouts does mean more fun, means more help. It also makes it easier to deliver a quality program. Why do they leave? We should always be thinking about retention, and now that we have time to implement some ideas and some plans. They leave. Of course, the first one, they're too busy and other things. We sometimes have to accept that loss, but can take some comfort in knowing that scouting's values have been imparted on those that were with us, and hopefully the scout's better off for that experience. The scout does need to be involved in extracurricular activities. Leaders can't fault their scouts for being involved in those activities. Be thankful that their youth are engaged in these, because hopefully they're demonstrating leadership, which is our goal. Be tolerant and be able to accommodate those. The other reasons they're leaving are a lot more troubling. They implicate the troop and its program. While a given troops program can't be all things to all youth, there are some common features that need to be in the program in order to interest and retain our members. Implementing the patrol method and an active outdoor program are imperative. What do we control? We control the program. We promise them fun, challenges, and the outdoors. We know that 51% of the scouts drop out of troops that have 5 or fewer campouts in a year, but only 15% drop out from troops that camp every month. Troop camping is different from Cub Scout camping. It takes a while for newer scouts and their parents to figure it out. 38% of the scouts leave because of a poor unit program. When scouts are not having fun, they're less likely to devote time to the program. Another interesting statistic from the survey was that 69% of the boys leaving scouting were the rank of second class or less, Advancement, of course, is a byproduct of a good camping program. Most scouts and units that camp monthly should attain the rank of first class within a year of joining the program. We can control advancement. We greatly encourage advancement. Leadership. We control our training. 49% of Choctaw's troop contact leaders are not trained. That's scoutmasters and assistant scoutmasters. The adventure. We can include more in our annual plan. And the challenge. Add a challenge to everything we do. When do they leave? Scouting's come up with 10 areas of when scouts leave. One of them fits in both the Cubs and the troop level, which is that transition. The transition, more than 70% of our new scouts come directly from Webelos. Every graduating Webelo deserves the opportunity to continue their scouting experience. No Webelo should start 5th grade without a clear path that leads directly to a troop. Rites of passage are critical for adolescents. They need a transition from one life stage to another. It needs to be ritualized and acknowledged. It has been for thousands of years. There are several rites of passage within scouting that are vital. The Webelos crossover, camp ceremonies, Order of the Arrow, Blue and Gold, Court of Honors. They must be well done and lift up the accomplishments of the scout. That first troop meeting, remember, youth by nature are pack animals. Older scouts don't naturally gravitate to the younger ones. That's just the way it is. Troop meetings can become cliquish, tend to ignore each other. Brand new scouts can feel alienated and they'll remain shy. The first camp out is another time. Understand that the 5th grader who just moved in, this is the first time since Tiger, he's been the lone man on the totem pole. Most of them are kings and queens of their elementary school where the 5th graders rule. So avoid publicly labeling new scouts as the new scouts or the new scout patrol. If you use a new scout patrol, refer to it by its name, Panthers, Hawks, whatever they are. Camping's vital. Youth-run scout camping experience may not be the prettiest sight to see, but it's fulfilling the goal of developing leaders and help them become adults. If the first camping experiences are negative, scouts will quickly leave. They get into the middle school years, it becomes tougher to keep them in the program. Their social world is changing. They're heavily influenced by their peers and almost overnight become interested in other things. Continue to challenge them with greater responsibilities. High school, that's a time when the scout is testing what he's learned and hopefully using his skills to better his team, his band, or his club. If our scouts are not leaders in youth of integrity, then we've missed the mark. How do we prepare? Great committed leaders. Good leaders make a good troop. Understand one of the most important positions in all of scouting is that leader. Try not to change leaders every year. Find someone with a heart for the position. Never underestimate the power of good planning. Plan every meeting, and especially the campouts. Again, that first campout is critical. Keep the scouts interested in advancing. There's so many things to work on. Make advancement a big deal. Make the move into leadership a big event. But communication is our key. A scout-led troop takes effort to communicate effectively. So are we delivering the promise? Scouting is worthwhile. If so, then it's important for us to bring the youth into scouting and keep them there. The mission is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetime by instilling in them the values of the Scout oath and the law. The reason we volunteer, the reason we have packs, troops, and crews is to fulfill that mission. So let's commit to consistently deliver on our promise. Let's have fresh program. Look at it from the Scouts' perspective. Don't do the same thing every year. That's pretty much what I got.
Yay!
Tim, thank you very much.
Okay, then I'm done.
No, that it was so well done. All righty, let's see. Don, I'll tell you what, let's see if we can get this local camping option that you're going to present tonight up and running.
I will try it from my computer and see how this goes. Could be interesting to say the least. Can you see that?
We can,
Yeah.
Don.
Don, go ahead. We're up and running.
I've done it.
Yeah, John, it's running fine.
Was that not coming through?
No, it is.
It's coming.
Oh, okay.
There's no audio.
Don, we can hear you, but I don't know if there's audio with the video.
It's music, so other than hearing that, you don't. He wasn't narrating it.
I think someone needs to say something, so I'll say something. I'll just tell you this, Florida Trail is a real gem if you haven't had a chance to do it. We've had the fortune of covering most of it in our troop in the last few months in preparation for Philmont, and I'll tell you, you're really missing out if you're not doing it. It's something really special.
Are you allowed out there now?
Yes.
You
Okay.
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I wanted to show this, and I was going to talk a little bit about it. I did a little bit of research over the last few days on this. I've hiked a couple of sections, and it is an amazing resource. What's wild about it, when you look at it, is that the Florida Trail, this 41-mile section, is entirely within Choctaw District of the trail that goes down to Miami. It's very cool. The other thing is, about 2/3 of the way, if you go out the Spanish Trail Scout Reservation gate and you go across the street, you go about 2/3 of a mile and you run into that Florida Trail. So it's amazingly close. The facilities out there are interesting. There's tremendous amounts of streams which provide for fresh water, and there's also the varying environments. Some of it is swampy, which is the picture you're seeing right now, and other parts are fairly arid. For those of you that haven't hiked it, I recommended, there's a chart in the end of this little video here that literally goes through and shows you that you can make anything from a 3-mile hike to a 41-mile hike. And if you wanted to, you could literally start canoeing up at the Highway 90 and the Shoal River, canoe down to the 85 bridge, walk less than a half a mile, and start hiking on the Florida Trail and go 41 miles to 331. You can do a 50-miler and stop at Spanish Trail and do your service project. So it's pretty cool. So I can go ahead and show you the rest of this if you want.
Don, did you get a permit to go do this?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did you get a permit to go do this?
Still didn't hear you.
Yes, you'll need a permit
Getting a
from
permit?
Jackson
Oh,
Guard.
this thing goes through the whole thing. There are 2 types of permits. If you want to do a day trip, you can do you can hike and get a permit online. If you want to camp, an overnight camp requires that you either physically go to Jackson Guard, which is closed today, and it'll be closed probably for the balance of the month. Also, you get with Jeff Bryant, get authorization, and then you'll get a troop permit or a group permit from Jackson Guard as well. And I won't let you go through all of this, but all the resources are in here, how to access Eglin, the different points of access. It's an amazing resource, and we as a council need to, or as a district in particular, need to take advantage of it.
Would you like me to post it on the district page?
Sure. I'm surprised you guys can't hear the sound, which was my concern. But this is I'll just walk you through that. This is the map of the entire reservation. There's parts of it that are open and closed. This is showing the campsites. Some of them are going through the swampy areas with the walkways. This is the northeast section that starts at 85 and goes over to 285. At the 285 area, both on the east and west side, it picks up. There's only one campsite there, but it is lots of range roads. So if you literally wanted to, you could pick up groups of people, or if you needed to get a scout out of there, you could without any problems whatsoever. Lots of streams. If you go up to northeast, if you look at the picture that was just shown there, I'm going to back that up just a second, if you'll pardon me. If you see that, you can see just how close Spanish Trail Scout Reservation is to the northwest corner of the trail. Literally go straight out the gate and you run into it. Only problem is you've got I-10 and a fairly healthy creek involved. As they span through this thing, that's what I would say, that's a pretty good representation of what most of the trail looks like. This is the part that goes down to 331, picks up at Bob Sykes. If you guys come in Bob Sykes Boulevard to camp, you go by it all the time. The bridge you're seeing is called the Demon Bridge. It was built in a cooperation between 3 different organizations by the Florida Trail Association, and it is really cool. I've not seen it in person. This is the mileage chart from different starting point and ending points. You can go as far as 41 miles, or you can do a little 3-mile jump. And multiple points of entry and exit. This is basically the end trail at 331. These are resources that are available to you. Here's the information on the permit and how you get it. You go you go to their website, which is provided at the bottom. And again, you get group permits through Jackson Guard. One thing you have to do is you've got to constantly look at it. There's a lot of missions closures out there. So if they're running a mission, they may close part of the trail. So you go to the Jackson Guard website, eglinIS sportsman.net, and they'll show you what the status is going to be for the next 3 days. Other resources, the Florida Trail Guide, which is very useful. It's published. You can also go to the Florida Trail Association, their guide. They manage the entire trail from end to end. And they've got some tremendous resources. The other thing is All Trails. There's a great online map that allows you to go through and see it in somewhat detail. The final thing that I would recommend also is you look at Atlas Guides, or what is also called Gut Hook, and there's a lot of information. As let me let this pick up. As I mentioned, you can see that section of the Shoal River starting at Highway 90 going down to 85. Right below that green line is where the Florida Trail picks up. And you can literally make it a 50-miler and stop at Spanish Trail, do a service project, and you're done. That's the ramp there at Highway 85. That's pretty good representation of what it looks like. Some areas are fairly closed in with woods. That's probably a better representation of what it looks like overall. It's a tremendous opportunity, and I'd say it's time to go out and do some hiking, and that's a great place to go in this thing. Questions?
Does anybody know if you can get a camping permit now?
No.
Not.
No, not at all.
It's closed. All the campsites are closed.
The only thing they're honoring is an existing permit.
Correct.
Correct.
So you can still use it as a day use, but you can't do overnight camping at any of the reservation.
That is correct.
Campsites.
You can get a hiking, a recreation pass, which it requires every individual who would be hiking to get a pass, but you can't get a group permit or a camping permit.
And Don, there's also an opportunity for Eagle Scout projects on that trail. So if they contact the Trail Association, they can help you through some of that, and Jackson Guard could do the same thing.
Well, and to that end, not just Eagle Scout projects, but service projects. There's a Choctaw, well, a chapter of the Florida Trail Association that operates and maintains this section. I've contacted them. The problem is it's mostly retired folks, and they tend to like to do their service projects on Tuesdays. So it's tough to get a group of scouts during the summer, or excuse me, during the school year to participate. And then in the summer, they're usually busy. So, but that's another service opportunity as well.
All righty. Moving right on along then. Next up, I've got Brad, if you're ready. Want to talk to us a little bit about running a virtual troop meeting or troop or crew meeting?
Sure. Let me share this, and you should be able to see that. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep, can see
All
it.
right.
You're up.
Great, great. So just to take a couple of minutes and wrap up here for this section, but we've had a number of troop meetings, patrol meetings, things like that. So they asked me to put together a couple of points on conducting an online meeting. Much like we're doing here, I just put together some thoughts. The first of which is etiquette. And when you get a group of young kids that aren't used to video chat the way we would think of it as in terms of professionals, and it takes some etiquette and some getting used to. So the first thing I would recommend, if you're hosting the meeting, connect a couple of minutes early, start the room up, anticipate. There's going to be people texting you or calling you saying, hey, I can't connect, or what's the URL, or how do I get in, things like that. And to that end, also plan to start a couple of minutes late. If your meetings normally start at 7, you might anticipate starting at 7:05, kinds of things, because people are going to have issues the first couple of times anyway, until they're used to the platform that you're using. This group has been great. John reminded everybody to mute their lines to begin with. Most everybody did. I think there's one person maybe on a phone call that might not know how to do that. But again, you see what the distractions are if they don't. So, you know, be mindful of that. And again, as adults, we're generally pretty mindful of it. But remember, we're dealing with 11 to 18-year-olds, and they don't think about those kinds of things, and they think the world revolves around them. So why should I mute my line? Nobody can hear what I'm doing. But again, as a good exercise for them, get them used to muting their lines. We've had good success by having them turn on their camera. So that was my next bullet point. And raise their hand if they want to speak so they can be called on, or let whoever's running the meeting call on them. That way not everybody's talking at the same time. The good news is we've had 3 troop meetings now, and they get better and better at this and start to understand what it means, and not talking over each other, and learning that online etiquette that they'll need. Again, not a requirement, but these are life skills that they'll use and take forward in their professional careers as well. Again, to me, big bullet point here. You remind them, be aware of their surroundings. This is a broad topic. I try and encourage them. We always have 2 deep leadership on these calls. So, remind them to maybe if they're in their room or a study or something, someplace where they can be away from the rest of the family, if they've got siblings and they don't hear brothers or sisters crying, other family members talking, things like that. It allows them to concentrate and focus on the meeting better. But again, if they're on a tablet or a phone, they're somewhat mobile, so you'll see them move around. I always run up, be aware of your surroundings. I've been on professional calls where you hear toilets flush and see things if people have their cameras on that aren't appropriate. So, real life lessons, be mindful of your surroundings, whether it's the location you're in, parents around, in terms of making noise, brothers, sisters, things like that. So find a quiet place to have a meeting in there. Pay attention. If back to bullet point 3, if their camera's on, then you can see, you can tell they're paying attention better. You just get better interaction, things like that. Keeps them off of their keyboards or phones and playing other things. But again, I remind them, hey, if you're out there and you're typing and you don't have your phone on mute, then you hear all the click clacking going on, and it's the distraction for everybody else in there. And then when they do talk, speak up. This is key. I've got a headset that I talk on conference calls all day long. I encourage them to do that. A lot of them have gaming headphones with microphones. Those work great. If they don't, certainly speakers, computer speakers, things like that. But again, if they're using computer speakers and their computers on their bed and that's across the room from them, you can't always hear them. So remind them of that. Stay in front of your computer or your device. Speak up when you're talking on the call, and certainly dress appropriately. For our troop meetings, I try and encourage them. Wear your uniforms. It's certainly, these are certainly guidelines and suggestions. We can't always force it, but be mindful, again, back to that, aware of your surroundings there. If your camera's on and you're laying in your bed and have on t-shirts and things like that, you can see that. But I also, remind folks, and have seen this many times in my professional career, the virtual mullet, as we refer to it. And that's where, you're certainly dressed on the top and you have shorts or pajamas or whatever on the bottom, or maybe you're sitting there in your underwear. So again, if you got that camera on, be mindful of that. So just some tips for setting up and going into the meetings. The platforms. There's multiple platforms out there. Some are better than others. Some have better advantages than others. Zoom seems to be very, very popular, and it's working for us here. There is some advantage to that in that it does allow you to share audio There's a button you can click on, and not to throw you under the bus, Don, but there is a way to set it up so that you can play your play videos and play the audio directly through the Zoom interface rather than having to hold your microphone up to speakers and things like that. So that's an advantage of Zoom. I think you've probably all seen the security stuff around Zoom, but it really, I think they've taken a hit on that. I think it's good practice really to set up your meetings with a password in them, and don't publish the meetings and the password all over the place. When I set my meetings up, I tend to set them up with the password, send it out a couple of hours in advance, and then notify them, hey, check your email, rather than posting on Facebook, hey, here's the meeting link and it's got the password in there. Well, you might as well not use a password in that case, because everybody, it's public and people can get in and see it. So really use some common sense around that. I've listed several here that are available to you. There's plenty of others. I personally like the GoToMeeting option. I use that a lot in my work life, so I know where the controls are. I would say, play with these platforms. Use the one that you're comfortable with. Make sure you can disconnect people. You know how to mute their lines or mute all the people in there, things like that. So, again, there's advantages to all of them, but I would say, find a platform or two that you're comfortable with and use those accordingly. When it comes to the meetings, what types of meetings are we doing or have we've done? And now, we're, I guess, going on, 30 days or so of this being locked down. So we've had, quite a few meetings, everything from rank advancement. Now, rank advancement, depending on the requirements there, I, have done things, used the phone and done certainly things over the phone. Scoutmaster conferences where, a video isn't required. We can just have a quick conversation. So certainly can do rank advancement stuff through there. FaceTime, a lot of these scouts either, have video type phones or their parents do. So certainly, take advantage of that. I've actually even had them record themselves doing requirements or demonstrating something and send me videos either via Google Docs or email or whatever. So a number of ways to accomplish that. I've told my guys, hey, don't let there's a lot of technology out there. Don't let that be a barrier or an impediment to your success. So own your advancement, continue to move forward with it. And let's take advantage of what we can, where we can. So again, I've done Scoutmaster conferences in there. We've had patrol leader council meetings now. So again, it's important. We started, and this is what I would suggest before you go to a troop meeting. Start with a PLC meeting. Get a plan together for the first one. Who's going to run what? It at least gets your leaders used to the platform that you're going to use, and everybody being on a conference call and trying to have some discussions and things there. So start small and grow bigger. So patrol leader council meetings work well. We've had some high adventure summer camp type meetings. So again, opportunities to test out your platforms, get people used to the tools, things like that. So, think, not just your troop meetings. Of course, we've had troop meetings. Those started out, the first one we probably had, I don't know, a dozen or so folks, and they continue to grow as the message gets out there. We had one last night, and we probably had close to 20 people, if not more, on at that point. So, they're starting to take a hold and grow from there. Patrol meetings are another good option. And I've encouraged my patrols this week to all host a patrol meeting. And so they know there's some tools available out there. I don't care if you want to have a conference call, if you want to use Zoom, if you want to use FaceTime or whatever, if they need me to help set up a GoToMeeting, do that. But again, I'm starting to push the idea to them where they start to get comfortable with the tools and start to have their own meetings as well out there. And we've done board of reviews. We've actually now done 2 board of reviews, and those have both been successful. Couple of tips there. You know, I typically set up the meeting. I'll contact the scout a couple of minutes beforehand, just to remind them, you know, what happens, the board of review, what they're going to do, and that I'll introduce them, etc. We'll all jump on the video call together. I'll introduce them as the scoutmaster, and then, you know, drop off the call, and the folks on the board, when they finish up, they can dismiss the scout. They can text me, and I can jump back on the call very quickly. We can discuss anything we need to, and then again, ping the scout and get them back online, and provide feedback from there. I will say, with your board of reviews, don't forget about, you know, oftentimes your board wants to look at their scout book and to see, you know, what was signed off and what service hours they've done, nights of camping, things like that. We've actually scanned those and just emailed those to the folks that are participating on the board of review, because obviously they can't have the book physically in front of them. So, you know, again, think about those kinds of things, obstacles to overcome. And then, you know, finally, merit badges. We've actually have one leader that's done a merit badge for an hour a week for the past couple of weeks, and starting small, and that's gone well. But there's, as you're probably all aware, there's a number of other councils out there that are doing online merit badges and things, and I've promoted that, and so we've got scouts doing many of those online merit badges and things like that. Some of the activities that are out there, we haven't done one, but we talked about it last night and have one planned now for a couple of weeks out to do a virtual camp out. So, you know, kind of like Bonnie was talking about for the Webelos, we will, you know, have a virtual camp out there. And actually it's good timing, because I think one of our scouts is going to help out with that, and we'll film some videos and get some feedback from scouts to provide for the Webelos camporee virtual camp out there. But that's something to think about, and again, keep going there. Service projects. I've seen a number of things online where scouts can continue to do that, whether it's writing cards. Somebody mentioned Bob Hope Village, but many of the nursing home type folks always like to receive cards and things, especially now where they can't have visitors and things. So there's even service activities that can be done online. So don't forget about those. Communications, you know, I'm probably not unique. Every troop, you know, has some challenges, I'm sure, at times communicating. I would say now more than ever, since we can't all be together and we don't see each other, communication is key. So figure out how your scouts want to communicate, and you know, it's a good opportunity for them to learn as well, and learn that texting is not communicating, especially if the text is one way. If you text somebody and they don't respond, then have you really communicated? So, you know, maybe you pick up the phone, call them, you know, figure out a different way to communicate. But those are all activities that we're working through, and some challenges, but again, good life lessons and learning from those. I've mentioned merit badges from the other councils. A couple other things that we've got coming up. You know, everybody in our troop really needs to recharge their cyber chip. So it's a good opportunity, I think, for everybody to probably plug into that, especially knowing the scouts are online so much more than they were previously. And I know we've all kind of, you know, fought that or discouraged it in scouting to some degree. But now that with school and everything else, they're online doing that. So we've got that plan to recharge the cyber chips. You know, go over leave no trace training. That's something that's good and easy and can be done online. So we've got that on the agenda coming up. But the other thing that we've done in our first couple of meetings, is have a couple of show and tells. And that's been really fun for the scouts, again, to help them get used to this new environment. It's not somebody lecturing or preaching to them, you know, like some of these merit badge sessions and things. But a couple of things we've done from a show and tell standpoint. Our first meeting, everybody, you know, we discussed our business and got through introductions and all of that, because we had some new scouts joining, and their first troop meeting actually was a virtual meeting. But we got to the point where we finished all our business, and then everybody showed their pets. And, you know, I certainly expected to see cats and dogs and things like that, maybe a turtle or so, but was quite surprised to see more than one scout show up with chickens that they have in their backyard, one scout with rabbits. So that was kind of interesting and fun exercise. We had fish on there. So it was kind of fun to see a side of people that you don't see often, and let them share and tell about their things. The other thing we did the past couple of meetings and kind of wrapped up last night was just ask everybody to go out and find something in their backyard that they find interesting, and you know, tell about that. And again, keeps them communicating with one another, gets them used to the technology and the platforms, and you know, talking over this medium. But again, we had scouts that brought in bones. We had scouts that brought in rocks and found expended ordnance in their backyard and things like that. So just a good opportunity to you know, keep them engaged, keep them going, and break up some of the monotony, so it doesn't seem like they're online listening to classes and in quote, you know, school sessions, or so it seems, all day, every day. So those are some of the things that we've done in there and have upcoming. I'm glad I put this next slide in. I know it's a bit of an eyesore, so I'll you know, send the link or send it to Bonnie so she can send it out. But if you haven't seen, there's a number of requirements now that National has altered or changed up to September 1 in these times, that say that lend themselves even to doing online meetings and things like that. And I certainly won't go through every one of these, but you see now for tenderfoot requirements, 1B, virtual patrol meetings and troop, you know, campouts via video conferencing are permitted and will count for nights of camping. So they've altered and changed a few of these things, and I just came across this yesterday. There's a lot more detail, and it was a question and answer fact, but I did just copy this section out since it really applies to the Scouts VSA side. But it does show that even Nationals now certainly on board and you know, trying to promote the idea of continuing rank advancement and you know, growth of these scouts, you know, in these times through online means, whatever that is available to you. So I think, you know, I've really just taken the approach of let's not let the situation slow down or impede anybody's rank advancement. So I've told, if we can reasonably do it, then we will. But now it looks like even you know, Nationals on board. So again, won't go through all these, but you see that it's interesting, some of the things that they've changed there. Now I will later in this fact too. They do allow nights of camping to count, or these virtual campouts for, like I said, tenderfoot requirements. But the nights of camping do not count towards nights of camping for OA. So you do still have to spend, that was something else that was in the fact, but nonetheless, just wanted to point that out. So I thought it might have come up earlier, but it didn't. So I'm glad I put it in there. But I really wrap up. Yes.
One quick question. I understand, and I think you maybe mentioned it, that the 40-minute limit on the free version of Zoom is now no longer in place.
Yes, right. And I didn't mention that. Yes, I've heard that they have extended it, and that's a good point. Back on some of those platforms, some of them are free. Some have limitations in terms of the number of people that can join at one time. Some have limitations in terms of how long you can go. The GoToMeeting account that I have, it's one that I pay for through work, so that's why I tend to use it. I don't have those limitations. But I will say, I was looking at the pricing for some of these. There's some again, free, and even like Zoom has a free option and a paid option. Obviously, council's paid for that. But I will say some of these other services, like the GoToMeeting one, does offer a paid subscription and it was like $10 or $12 a month, so you can go month to month. So again, I didn't want to get into all the ins and outs of those, but I'll say, there's lots of them out there. Don't just pick the first one because it's the popular one per se, but do a little research and figure out, is that the one that works for you and meets your needs and things. But there's lots of options. And again, my point is, don't let the technology get in the way of scouting continuing. So that's really what I had.
Brad, thank you very much. Very helpful, very informative. Bonnie, we've got time, or can you please talk about the new 4-point challenge?
Yes, just a quick one here. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention we did a Zoom meeting yesterday with an account I set up quick, thinking that we did have more than the 40 minutes, and we did not. It did cut us off at the end before we had finished, so it did not let us extend. So
that's interesting. Sure. I've heard both. I've heard they were, and then I've heard several people say no, they've been able to go longer. Now I will say interestingly enough, my daughter's volleyball team, they're doing virtual practices and they use Zoom, and when it cuts them off at 40 minutes, then their coach just texts out a new link immediately, and they all kind of know it, and they all just reconnect immediately. So you can send out a new link immediately if you do go that route.
Okay.
You don't even necessarily need to use a new link. My high school classmates did a concert out of a theater in Virginia last week. You can just rejoin the same meeting immediately.
Okay.
Okay, the slide that you're looking at is something new that came out today. There was a distro email that was sent out by council at about 4:45, so you will have this in your email if you're on the distro list. But it talks about a new 4-point challenge they've put out where they can earn a patch for doing a few simple things that can be done by Scouts BSA as well as packs and crews, and gives them the patch for doing the activities. You can see it talks about a scout is kind, goes into another about being clean, and gives you something to watch there. The next one is a scout is obedient, telling you what you can and can't do now and giving you some ideas of things to do for advancements there. Scout is courteous, going through that piece as well. And then once they fill it out, then they're able to get a patch as well. Something that we can promote to our scouts is something they can do now for a patch that they've not seen before.
Thanks, Bonnie. All right, next on the agenda is me. I am going to be covering remembering the elderly. I had seen something. Can everybody hear me?
No, you're muted.
I am
yes,
muted.
no, we can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, so I gotten this idea off of Facebook. I was looking at a TV station out of Tampa and everything, and they had interviewed someone that was working for a assisted living facility, and they were relaying the information about how these elderly people are basically depressed because they're cut off from the outside world. And then I started thinking, and it's like, you know what, scouts can do something about this. So I started brainstorming with Michelle Wright, and we have actually got a connection inside the Meridian at Westwood. Her mother is there. And I have got a list of room numbers. We're not allowed to have the names to protect them through the HIPAA. But my idea is for the scouts to either hand make cards or go to Dollar Tree and buy cards and write a little personal note in there, something uplifting, and send it to Westwood. Now, I know immediately you're thinking, oh, money, we're all, out of jobs right now. You don't necessarily have to buy the stamp. You can all come up with something that, assign a leader to collect all this stuff and then put it in a box and take it to the front door at Meridian. You will have to call them and say, hey, I'm such and such with, Pack 544, and I'm here to drop off these greeting cards for the guest here, because they do not take anything in immediately. They have a certain way of going through things and disinfecting. They do the same thing with their mail. Let's see. I do have a list, thanks to Michelle. There's 136 tenants there. There are 73 employees at the Meridian. I've already started with the pack side, and I've gotten a total of, I think, 60 that they have reserved. I still have some openings, and so what I'm doing is just in blocks of 10. If anybody would like to sign up, you can either put it in the comments section, hey, this is Troop 544, and we'd like to reserve a block of 10. And then I will email you or text you back saying, okay, you have room numbers from 10 to 20. That's just an example. Those are already taken. With that said, I think I was trying to condense everything. I was much longer on the PAC side than I am over here on the BSA side. So I hope I have covered everything just in a short bit of time. Also, when you open up your emails and catch that, the 4-point challenge patch email, number 1 on that is a scout is kind. The very first challenge is write at least 1 letter addressed to a nursing home, and you can take pictures or videos when you do that. So right there, all of our scouts can accomplish number 1 by doing this community service. So that's it for that. I do have one more announcement to make while I've got y'all. The patches are in. My second batch of patches are in from. It's thing. What about this? Just ignore him. So anyway, they came in about a month ago. I am not going to take any money from anybody right now because we all have hardships. So as soon as we all get back to work and we've got money coming in and everything, get up with me and we will settle up on the patches. And that is it from me. So John, it is back to you.
Yeah, you need that.
Well, here you go.
Since my computer decided to poop right at the beginning. Everyone, thank you so much for attending our virtual meeting. I think it went quite well. I am very pleased. Just as a reminder, our next roundtable will be May 12th. Have no clue whether it'll be virtual, in person, or otherwise, but we will keep everybody informed as we know more. Everybody stay safe and keep doing what you're doing. And we will see you next month. Bye.
Very good. Thanks all.
Thank you.